FNaF Into the Pit is a brand new title for the franchise, releasing on August 7th after accidentally releasing in Japan on the same day, when everything was supposed to launch a day later for the series' 10th anniversary. The game has been an absolute smash hit with plenty of YouTube coverage and sales. However, one aspect of this game that I feel hasn't been touched on is its story and lore clues as well as its Easter eggs. There has been some minor discussion so far, however the game is absolutely filled to the brim with content regarding its story and lore, with everything from alternate endings to environmental Easter eggs to secret phone numbers. That being said, the game is less than a week old as I'm writing this, so more coverage on the story is bound to come at some point. But because I've been having such a blast with this game, to the point where it's probably my new favorite FNaF game, I really wanted to cover this game's lore in a proper video on this channel. However, because this game has so much lore and secrets, I've decided that rather than making one larger theory, I'm instead going to split up this video into 3 mini-theories, going over some of the secrets and lore of what we're given, and hopefully showing you why this game is so great. With that out of the way, let's get into the first mini-theory. My first mini-theory for this video is actually quite a shocking one, being that Oswald's dad is actually Sammy from the FNaF novel trilogy. Yeah, I know how crazy it sounds, but trust me, I have my reasons for suggesting this idea. First of all, if you collect all of Oswald's dad's objects around the map, you can collect a secret photo of what seems to be Henry and William based on an alternate scrapped version for it found in the files. This is obviously very suspicious, as why would this picture only spawn in after collecting all of Oswald's dad's items? Additionally, while it's never been stated that Sammy exists in the game's universe, it's also never been stated that he doesn't exist. Heck, even if not directly Sammy, it's possible that Henry had a son in the game's timeline that left with his wife after he went crazy over Charlotte's death. Another thing I thought of is that Oswald's dad is said to be really good at fixing things, as he was seemingly a mechanic at the mill where he used to work. This would make sense if he were Henry's son, as Henry is stated to be the guy who was actually in charge of making the animatronics, whereas his partner William Afton is more on the business side. This, combined with the slight visual similarities, as well as the insane amount of Freddy's memorabilia around Oswald's home, and Oswald's seemingly psychic connection to Freddy's, makes it so that Oswald's dad could easily be Sammy in my opinion. There is also nothing that really debunks this theory, although with how new this game is as of writing this, more evidence, or more debunks, could easily pop up. But as of now, I think this explanation of Oswald's dad being Sammy could very well be true. This idea of Henry having a son in the games that we had no idea about until now is pretty cool, honestly. And while you may not even believe this game takes place in the game's timeline, which I personally think it does, I think you gotta admit it's kinda cool at least. My second mini-theory for this video is that one of the arcade minigames in Into the Pit actually proves that there is a 6th missing child, or at least a 6th child connected to the missing children. Okay, so for a bit of context, one of the arcade minigames you can play in this game is called Collect the Hats. Here you play as Balloon Boy and have to collect 5 party hats in a singular room while dodging cannonballs, I think? Anyways, in classic FNaF fashion, you can clip through one of the walls in this minigame. You can then walk through some hallways, and then find William Afton dangling a 6th party hat. You can then catch this hat midair and complete the game with 6 out of 5 hats collected. This is not only weird on its own given that this doesn't do anything for the minigame itself or grant any extra tickets, but that collecting this extra hat is required for the 3-star ending. The fact that this is required for one of the secret endings got me thinking, and I honestly think it's possible that this is trying to tell us that there may be a 6th missing kid. I mean, think about it. We have 5 hats potentially in reference to the 5 missing children, as well as a secret 6th hat that we can't normally see, potentially confirming that a 6th child, whether it be Andrew or Garrett or the Crying Child or whoever else, has actually been a part of the MCI lineup this entire time. I mean, in FNaF 4, which is a game that presumably takes place before the MCI, we can see what looks to be a body stuffed inside a Fredbear suit, which could be our 6th missing kid. As I said earlier, while I personally think this game does take place in the game's timeline, you may not believe that, and that's okay. I just think that this is a really intriguing idea that you should at least give some thought. Alright, so admittedly this last one is more me stating an opinion than a theory. But nevertheless, I still think it's important to discuss which ending of this game I think is canon. And unlike most FNaF games where it's a simple choice between good or bad, here we have a total of 5 different endings to discuss. There's a lot that happens in these different endings, with pretty much everything from Oswald dying, to Jeff dying, to Oswald becoming one of the animatronics, but we'll talk about that later. Before I discuss which ending I personally think is canon, I want to do a brief summary of each one, so that you can also come to your own conclusions on which ending is canon for yourself. To start, we have the 1-star ending, which is pretty simple. You escape the clutches of Spring Bonnie and rescue your dad, however Spring Bonnie decides to pull Oswald into the pit instead, where he then ties up and kills Oswald. Next we have the 2-star ending, where you get your dad back to present time and Spring Bonnie accidentally gets caught in the netting and hangs himself. Oswald's dad tells him that they're going to move to a different town for him, and the two hug things out. However, there's a post-credits scene for this ending where Jeff goes to check on the ball pit and gets attacked by Spring Bonnie, implying that he's still alive. We then have the 3-star ending, which is the same as the 2-star ending, except instead of Jeff dying, he's able to refurbish the pizza place and turn it into a thriving business, with us getting a different post-credit shot of Oswald's family enjoying some pizza. There's also the leaving ending, where after encountering the Yellow Rabbit for the first time, Oswald leaves the pizzeria in the past, abandoning his father and choosing to start a new life in this world. Finally, we have the last ending, where if you fail the QuickTime event during Spring Bonnie's fight, you're taken back to the pizzeria. As you walk past all of the animatronics waving at you, blocking all the other rooms, you are then faced with Spring Bonnie, and presumably possess one of the animatronics, although which one isn't clear. Overall, between these 5 endings, I personally believe the 3-star ending is canon. Not only does it reward the most stars on the menu, but it's also the happiest and requires the most effort to obtain, so I think it's pretty clear that the 3-star ending is canon. Admittedly, it is also possible that the 2-star ending is canon, but that one takes a lot less effort to achieve, so I don't agree personally. Despite all of this though, I don't think which ending is canon actually matters, as this is mostly just likely a one-off game, and probably won't receive any sequels unless they're in the form of alternate Fright Story games. Overall, I've had an absolute blast playing FNaF Into the Pit, and achieving all of its endings plus most of its achievements. This is most likely my new favorite FNaF game, as it really feels like this game took a page out of early FNaF's book, which I absolutely love. Every little detail clearly had tons of passion poured into it, and hopefully we can expect to see more FNaF games from Mega Cat Studios in the future. But anyways, I'm Supersonic, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.